So let me tell you, the state of our temple is bright. Our clergy, staff, and lay leadership worked tirelessly to successfully pull us through the pandemic and keep the temple going. I know that you will join the rabbi in congratulating the COVID task force next Shabbat and honor the work it required to keep the temple and preschool going during and after the initial pandemic shutdown. The state of our temple is bright. The preschool had in-person Grandparents' Day today with full attendance. Our school is at record enrollment compared to the last 5 years. Wait lists exist for classes, and the character breakfast is planned for the end of the month. The state of our temple is bright. The religious school has 140 students and houses a Yad School program offered by the Jewish Federation. We have kept 300 plus members and continue to grow year after year, even during the pandemic, when the rest of the Reform synagogues are seeing a 20% decline. The Personnel Committee has hired an excellent team, rewritten our handbook, and is working on restructuring and streamlining our work. The finance team, under the last 6 years with Art at the helm and 4 years with Eric, has kept us afloat, identified problematic areas, defined and implemented solutions, and are now looking ahead with the new budget to make changes to our overall financial policies and procedures. Bottom line, we made it through one of the toughest periods in temple history, and now it's time to look for our future. We want to increase social, music, art, and teen programming. We want to bring the preschool into the future with state-of-the-art rooms and potentially opening even to younger children. We want to redesign our sanctuary and our rec hall to make it more amenable to bar and bat mitzvahs, weddings, and social gatherings. The difficulty is that our building is 30 years old, and there are some things we must fix in our home before we can get to any of that. We need a new roof yesterday, a new parking lot. I don't know if anybody else's tire is now low, but mine is from the potholes. Our HVAC system needs a big overhaul, even though we've replaced a few of our units over the last few years. So why don't we just do all of that? It's our home. That's what we do as homeowners. Frankly, we can't afford it. Yes, everybody pays dues each year. We create a budget based on those dues, and our estimated level of financial assistance we give is over $100,000. We do collect the building catastrophe fee from members over the course of their membership for things like this, but not everybody can give to that fund. And our annual budget, frankly, does not pay for all of the things we do as a temple community, nor all of the staff we have. We, like most nonprofits, rely on contributions and fundraisers to make up the difference. While we do have funds to pay for the roof in our catastrophe fund tomorrow, if we need it, or could do so by pulling funds out of our investment accounts, that would leave us with very little, if anything, in reserve. We have also considered taking additional equity out of the temple to pay for these things for now, but that would hinder our future plans. In 4 years, we're hoping to pay off the mortgage and utilize that $85,000 a year towards building the temple programming and staff to run it. In light of all this, we as a board of trustees hired someone to do a feasibility study of starting a capital campaign to pay for the items we need and the items we want. The study came back, and it seems that our temple family is not ready for a capital campaign based on the report. It estimated that we would earn approximately $750,000 over 5 years instead of the $2 million we were hoping for. Fiscally, it doesn't make sense to hire someone to run a capital campaign if we're not going to make the money we need now, let alone for the future. So we're starting our own mini campaign, the Building Our Future campaign. This will be an effort run by members to raise the funds necessary to put on a roof first and take care of the parking lot and masonry of the building. The estimates for the roof are between $250,000 and $300,000. For the parking lot, masonry, paint, and curb appeal, it's an additional $250,000. So what do we need from our members and our family? Why are we having a state of our temple? Because it's a call for time and money. Our Kol Nidre appeal brought in 50% less than it did the prior 2 years. We have held off on planning a gala while waiting for the feasibility study to come back. And it's now apparent that we need to make up for both major fundraisers in order to meet our budget needs for even this year, let alone putting a roof on. If every member in the temple could donate $2,000 over the next 12 months, that's $150 a month per member, we would raise close to the $600,000 we need. But not every member can do that. So I need help from some of our members who are willing and able to be part of this campaign. Individuals who are willing to strategize and reach out to our friends within our Temple Beth Torah community to give what they can towards the needs of our building. We will have open forums to hear from temple congregants based on the state of our temple meeting tonight, so that we can hear your concerns, needs, and questions, and hopefully identify those willing to help. On February 26th, the Sunday of Shor Hashim and the preschool character breakfast, I will have a coffee station set up 9 to 12. For our families who have kids in Shor Hashim and at the preschool, I will be here to hear you, to talk to you, to see what you might have ideas on or be willing to help with. In the future, and that date will come out in the next 2 weeks, we will have an additional open forum on a Tuesday or Wednesday evening so that other members that don't want to come in on a Sunday with the hustle and bustle of all of the kids can also be heard. And then by mid-March, we will have our first Building for Our Future campaign meeting. Our annual gala will be hosted on Saturday, April 15th. For cost savings, we will be doing it here at the temple because every dollar will matter towards putting a roof on our temple. We will work on both the campaign and the gala simultaneously, as one will support the other. In the fall, we will also be starting a strategic planning and revisioning committee. This will begin with more open forums and a smaller team of people that will work with our stakeholders, including the clergy, staff, parents of preschoolers, parents of those in Shor Hashim, and members of all ages to determine what we really want our temple to look like. It will give us 2 years to put together a full plan of what we want from a capital campaign. Joel and Jana just married off their daughter. If she comes back to Wellington and wants to raise her kids here, what do they want to see their grandchildren be able to have here? For our preschool parents that are 2s and 3s, what do they want their bar and bat mitzvah kids to have at the temple in 10 years? And for those of our kids who are bar and bat mitzvah age, what do they want available to them when they go off to college and when they return? These are the kinds of questions we want to answer as a community to create our temple future. I encourage anyone who would like to be part of the board to reach out to one of us. Jeff Sharkey is one of the individuals who will be heading up our nomination committee. Thank you, Jeff. And if you'd like to play a smaller role on a committee, you can reach out to myself, the clergy, or the staff. We will find something that will give you joy and help the temple move forward. The state of our temple is bright. While the financial components I shared with you this evening seem dire, they are not uncommon. They are very soluble, and we have a plan to do that so long as our family of families bands together and we do it together. We are entering the next Board of Trustees election cycle, and there are a number of invested lay leaders who are excited about this work and ready to take it on. I assure you, the temple is alive and well. We have a hustling and bustling lobby every Sunday and every weekday during drop-off and pickup of the preschool. We just want to stay dry by getting a new roof. So at this time, we're going to take questions both live and from Zoom. We're going to start in the room, and it is an open forum. Any question you have, if I don't have the answer, we will write it down and we're going to send it out to the entire community. But this is part of being open and honest with our temple membership so that you know where we are. You can get the information you need to make sound decisions going forward. And we can continue to provide a great family of families here and in the future. Are there any questions?
What was the mortgage amount left again?
I don't know the exact amount, but we have 4 years left, 4 3/4 at this point. Yeah, and we have we've spent about $85,000 a year on the mortgage. That's missing.
Can you give us a ballpark number of how many families are currently members, and what has been the trend over the last 3 to 4 years?
Repeat the question. The question is, how many families do we have as members now, and what's been the trend for the last 3 to 4 years? So I think at the beginning of the pandemic, we were around 300,
297.
and now we're 320 something.
I would say 320.
Yeah, so we've had 5 to 6 families join per year over the last 4 years. That's generally been the trend. We've actually had more than that. Some families have left, so it ends up averaging to 5 or 6 families. The clergy and the staff had been doing a lot of outreach to the Western communities that have been popping up past Wellington. We went to Hanukkah out at Westlake. They've been in talks with the Arden community. They take things into Olympia and into Wycliffe to try to continue to do outreach. We participate in the community events, both the holiday ones. Eric got us involved with some of the community food bank events during COVID, and that got us in touch with the mayor and has gotten us a lot of outreach and publicity, but we really need to tap into the Western communities.
When I'm here, I notice how many single people are here. I don't know that you can count them as families. I think that they probably have different amounts that they can contribute.
Yeah.
And I'd like to know what's going to be done for them.
Any little bit helps. Most of our individuals who are here that need financial assistance, nobody's turned away. We want everybody to be members, and we want everybody to feel included. So anybody who cannot give of their financial can give of time. We want to create programming. Rabbi's been very, very predominant in creating the lunch and learns, the Torah studies, outreaching to all ages and levels, doing at least one thing. I think we talked about every quarter, but it might be every half part of the year. The sisterhood has been rebuilding for both families and for those individuals. But hearing what else you want is part of what we want to do for the strategic visioning. Because we know that there is a lot lacking for our teens and our adults and our older community that need more programming at the temple that's not currently offered. And part of that is staff and time and gathering people together that want to put things together for that community.
I'm just worried about that.
Well, Rabbi also, I mean, he has a whole thing that he does, but for our individuals in need, there's Rabbi Knows, and there are a lot of donations that go specifically to those families and individuals.
Our trend for what we use to support those who can't pay the full amount of dues is on par with the Reform synagogues across the country. It usually runs somewhere between 25 and 30% of your congregation needs some kind of financial support. So in any given year, we might be 26%, 27, 28.
Were there any questions on Zoom before we keep going? Any more questions here?
I would just like to comment that I hope everybody appreciates how fortunate we are with our cantor and our rabbi. I had an unfortunate fall, and last week was my first week back in several months. And they greeted me, and the congregation made me feel like I was coming home. So we need to show appreciation to our rabbi and our cantor, because they do work very hard to make people welcome.
You're absolutely right. And it is home. And that is the number one thing that came out in the feasibility report, is how trusted our clergy is. And that people who did want to give and were committed to giving, were giving because of the rabbi and cantor and the community that they create, the family and the home feeling that stems from them. Because as much as lay leadership helps, they are the face and the heart of our temple. So that's why we know our future is bright, because they're here to lead the way. We just need to, as members, in showing gratitude, also give the time that's needed to make their dreams and their vision for what they want Temple Beth Torah to become a reality. They can only do so much. They can guide us, they can counsel us, they can visit at the hospital, they can go from funeral to a preschool, from a grandparent's excited Shabbat ceremony to a funeral, and they do it with a smile on their face and they compartmentalize. And that's the heart of our home. We just need to make our home fit as great as that heart is. Joel?
How are you seeing the younger families like yourself that have kids in this preschool and the preschool get along? How do you get them? First of all,
Repeat the question.
Yeah, so the question is, how do we get, frankly, my generation, so I have an 8-year-old and a 17-year-old, so I'm pre-bar bat mitzvah and post. How do we get this generation, Eric's, engaged and involved? And that is the question we are asking. That is part of why we want to do this revisioning and strategic campaign. It's why we want to do the open forums. Because frankly, everybody who came here, minus 4 of us, really, it's the future is bright, but you've laid the path for what today is. You built the future for your kids, and it is now. So now it's our job to do it for our kids. So part of the open forums and making sure that I'm at Shorashim and the character breakfast and talking to those families is to encourage them to go outside the realm of what I call a plug and play system. Our generation is very plug and play. We want to drop off at Shorashim, have them have all the fun, show up to the Purim Carnival, have it entertained for the day, you know, wear them out, and then go home and continue with our Sunday. But the amount of work that goes into both Shorashim and the Purim Carnival is extensive. So either we need to raise our level of volunteerism, or we need to raise our level of funding in order to hire the staff that is necessary. And that's going to be a big part of this middle generation that exists in the temple, to determine what is it that we want. And if this is what we want, what do we have to pay in dues, in fundraising to make that happen, if we're not the ones who are going to be physically doing it? If I had the answer, we'd already have a solution.
You're right.
But it is, it's a tough conversation. And it's, I am, and I would say Eric probably too, Michael as well, we're full working parents. Having kids is another job. Generally, both parents are working. The kids are in 16,000 activities. It's tough to give one more minute. But it's about creating a vision for what we want here and motivating. When we're motivated, when we believe in something, this generation, my generation, does it full-fledged. So we just have to get to that point, and that's really the bottom line of why we're not doing the capital campaign, because we need that level of buy-in, not from just time, but also finances, and we're just not there yet. We've got to build the motivation. Well, I thank all of you for coming to Shabbat dinner. I think those of you on Zoom, again, on February 26th, I'll be here and we'll be posting the recorded meeting on our Facebook page. So questions come in through there, we will answer them. If they come via email to any of the clergy, myself, or the staff, it will get to the right person and we will answer them. But we do want to make sure that we're opening dialogue with all of our members, that everybody feels they can ask any question and they get an answer, because we are all owners of this home and this family, and we each need to take a piece of that and get the information we need to make good decisions. So Shabbat Shalom and enjoy your evening.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Shabbat shalom.
Yeah.